Happy weekend, my Instagram friends and followers. I hope you're all well. I hope the weather is nice where you are. It's raining at the moment. I can only hope it's going to brighten up a little bit this afternoon to go for a walk. I hope some of you can join this live. If not, I hope many of you will watch the replay, because what I want to talk to you about today is something that is really important and you could really benefit from this. And it is the topic on how to deal with setbacks. It's something that I have talked about with my clients recently, and it's something that just keeps coming up. So I thought that I was going to come and do a quick live and share some strategies with you. For argument's sake, I'm going to use examples from weight loss, where I have most experience, but these strategies can be applied to anything in your life. And I have talked about with one of my clients about this, but it was just a bad habit that she wanted to get rid of, and she kept having these setbacks. So we put these various strategies in place. I have been seeing a lot of people off screen. I'm doing a lot of face-to-face appointments whilst I'm getting further psychotherapy training and setting up my psychotherapy practice. So it's been really busy with Lonnie. Lonnie is now over 9 months old. Gosh, time flies. And then going to the Play Hub 3-4 times a week to see people. I'm still doing free therapy for mums and mums-to-be. So if you live locally to me, then please reach out. I'll be delighted to help you and support you, whatever you may be going through at the moment. And maybe this live will be of importance to you as well. So without further ado, let's get to this strategy and let me talk you through these several steps. The first step is to just stop. And yes, some of the things I'm going to say may seem like too simple, but just stay open-minded and I will try to explain why they are so important. So what happens quite often is that there is a trigger, quite often emotional trigger, that we then end up acting on an impulse or instinct, and before you know it, you have picked something up and put in your mouth, or you've got a glass in your hand, or you lit up a cigarette. And what I hear very often is when people have had these setbacks, they say, I have almost no recollection of what happened, but I'm just standing here and I've got a cigarette in my hand, for example. So let me quickly explain. When we have a trigger, our emotional brain, amygdala, is a lot faster than our thinking brain, prefrontal cortex. I apologize, I've just done this very video in Latvian language, so I'm just trying to get myself back into the English language. So we just want to stop, and our emotional brain is a lot faster than our logical brain. Why, you may ask or think, and that's for survival reasons. Let's say you are in a dangerous situation, you are out there in the forest and there's a bear that appears from nowhere. There is simply no time for the slow logical thinking. Your reaction needs to be in milliseconds. You need to know whether you're going to fight or flight or freeze. And, there's no time to simply stand there and think, does this bear look dangerous, in a good mood or not? How likely is he going to hurt me? What's the likelihood of that? Or what kind of speed he's going to come at me at? You see, it's too slow. So fight, flight or freeze is pretty instant. So, and it takes a while for our emotional brain, when the emotional arousal goes down and our logical brain kicks back in, it takes a bit of time. So you become very emotional, you go then and act something, you know, you pick up on this bad habit of yours, which, you know, has been an automated behavior for quite some time for you. So it's a learned behavior. When I feel like this is what I do. And then after a while, once you've calmed down a little bit, your logical brain is back online, and you're like, why am I doing this? I don't quite remember how I ended up eating or drinking or smoking again. So just stop. And let's say you were eating some biscuits, or you had this cigarette, just put it out, just stop. What we don't want to do is have a negative domino effect. And it's too often when I hear when people have had an unhealthy breakfast, which then leads to skipping a workout, which then leads to takeaway for dinner, and it just, you know, it's a negative domino effect. So we just stop. Put it down, walk away, stop. The next point, in line with what I've just said, is to stay calm, to remain calm. We cannot be emotional and logical at the same time. When emotions are high, intelligence is low. When you are very emotionally aroused, you have very little access to your logical brain. So when we are feeling very distressed, we just cannot think of solutions. We will not think our way out of situation because we are just not thinking rationally in that moment. Different people have different ways of how they calm themselves down. I did a video, it was my last video actually, about my favorite ways to relax and de-stress at the moment. One of them is breathing. If that's something that you would potentially benefit from, then go and check out that previous video of mine to get some ideas how you can just lower that emotional arousal and just calm down your nervous system. So what it will do, it will allow you to access your thinking brain. Now that we've got access to our thinking brain, hopefully what we want to do is we want to review commitment. And what I mean by that is we want to remember why your goal is important to you. So let's say it's a weight loss goal. Why is it important to you? Want to remember that. When we're feeling various emotions in our bodies, dominant emotion, whatever emotion is dominant, is going to win. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to access some really highly positive emotions associated with our goal that can lift us out of the negativity mindset and motivate us for a positive behavior. When people say they want to lose weight, they normally have a number in mind or a dress size in mind, and I invite them to dig deeper so we can eventually arrive at the final destination is how do you want to feel at the end of this, right? So when you just say I want to lose a stone or I want to fit into a size 12 clothes, what does it mean to you? So let's say you have lost a stone, you can fit into a size 12, what's going to happen now? And then people will often say things like, I'm going to feel so much more confident, for example, and then say, okay, and what does that mean? You know, where is that going to take you? Where is that feeling going to take you? And then, after a bit of thinking, because we're digging deeper and deeper here, people will say, well, actually, I think I'll ask for that promotion or a pay rise, or maybe I'll go and start, you know, an online business like I have done, or maybe I'll sign up on a dating website because now I feel like I'm confident enough to go on a blind date. You get the idea. So we want to connect to all those positive feelings that are associated with achieving our goal, and that's what's going to motivate you. So review your commitment. So when you're putting that cigarette or biscuit down, like, I want to feel and look fantastic, I want to go, you know, these are the things that I want to do, I want to go on that holiday, put a bikini on and actually like the picture that I take, whatever it is. Then the next step is we make an immediate plan, and I will stress the word immediate. I want you to stop the behavior and concentrate on what is the next positive thing that you can do. Because what happens very often is that we get one negative emotion, and then these negative emotions start compounding. For example, there's been a trigger, you feel upset, you have now eaten something, and now because you have eaten something you didn't want to eat, you have the feelings of guilt and shame and disappointment, and then you, let's say you then decide you're not going to go to a gym class, so you tell your friend that you're not going to go. You then feel like, oh, I really let my friend down, I keep doing this. You see, and it's just like we're just compounding all of these negative emotions that leads then in turn to more negative, destructive actions that we take. So we want to just nip it in the bud, and I want you to think, oh, what is the next positive thing that I can do? And a mantra or affirmation, if you like, that seems to work really well for my clients as well as me personally, is that every meal, when it comes to eating and weight loss, is an opportunity to start again. Every meal is an opportunity to start again. And it might be that you put the biscuit down and you go and pour yourself a glass of water. It might be that you call a friend to distract yourself, to shift your focus from I want to eat this biscuit to then phoning a friend and talking about something else. It might be physically leaving the environment, walking out of the kitchen, or leaving the house to go out for a nice walk. It might be making your dinner 1% healthier. I don't know, have one roast potato less or something. You get the idea. What is the next positive thing you can do so you can stop it right there? Then it would be, next step is to get help and support if you need it. Reach out to mentors if you have mentors, accountability partners if you have them. It might just be enough to go and listen to something motivational, inspirational here on Instagram or YouTube. Give yourself that mindset lift, if you like. Go and fuel yourself up, charge yourself up with some positivity, motivation, inspiration. And then the last step, which is the most important step, and if you don't take this last step, then what you will find is that it will just be a vicious circle. You will just keep having setbacks with absolutely no idea why and how to stop them, and you will just feel more and more like a failure, and it's going to be very hard for you to achieve any of your goals and break any bad and healthy habits. So the last step is to review, and I want you to look at it as a lesson. Why did that happen? What happened just before I did what I did not want to do? Right? What was the trigger? And it's really important to start drawing these parallels and understand, is it that when I feel like this, then I always go and do this? Okay, if it's a certain emotion, what gives me that emotion? Where does that emotion come from? Is it always something that happens at work? Is it, family arguments? What is it that it makes me feel like this and then I go and do this? Is it always when I'm with certain people? Is it always when I'm in a particular environment, in a particular place? Start thinking, what is it? What happens just before? And when you have that awareness, then what you can do is either try and prevent yourself to getting to that feeling, if at all possible, or have strategies in place that will help you manage that feeling in a much more healthy way. Okay, let me give you some examples to prevent, how to prevent. I've worked with a client who just kept having these major setbacks, and after 3 major setbacks and having done a lot of investigating work, we finally came to conclusion that they happen when she is exhausted. when her battery is running critically low, where there's just been too much work. And then her body and mind just completely puts the brakes on. She stops completely, comes to a complete stop, doesn't do anything at home or at work, and then uses food and drink as a way of sabotaging for instant gratification, as a reward, as a way to instantly relax. So once we were able to address that it always happens when she is extremely exhausted, we started looking at, well, how do we prevent you from working yourself to the ground? Can we start spotting some warning signals before we get to that point? So let's say when your phone is running low on battery, can you see the yellow before the red? Before it gets to 5% and less. So that's something that we worked on. And if that's not possible, when you realize you have yet again worked yourself to the ground, what are much better ways for you to then relax and de-stress, and not instant gratification, which is just destructive eating and drinking habits. Okay. To give you an example how to try and manage the situation better, if you can't prevent it from happening, I had a client, and that's to do with losing weight and having friends who have different eating habits. So she had this particular friend that she used to meet up in a cafe, and this friend always used to get cake. So they used to get coffee and cake. And often she wouldn't be able to resist, and she would just order something herself, or her friend would order something and she would come to the table with 2 forks, and she would just encourage her constantly, just try this, have a little bit of this, oh, this is really, really good, try some. Or even worse, she would get macaroons or biscuits, things that you can actually share. You get the idea. So she made it quite hard, not intentionally, for this friend who was trying to lose weight. So she didn't want to not see this friend, and she quite enjoyed the coffee and the chat. So what she started doing instead, and so it happened that we were coming into spring, that they started getting a takeaway coffee and going for a walk instead. And it was funny because this other friend, turns out, still often used to get cake, but she would have it takeaway, so she would then go home and eat it afterwards. So you can see, just to give you an idea, sometimes you can look at the situation, think, how can I manage it a little bit better? So if this friend is walking with me, so we're walking, so we're getting some steps in, so that's a very, very positive in itself. And then even if she has the cake, it's in her bag, I don't have to see it, she's not offering it to me, okay? Just to give you some rough ideas. So, and when we are able to learn from this experience and take it as a learning lesson, we can then, what I call, fail forwards. It doesn't have to be a massive step back. We can fail, but we can fail forward because we have learned from this experience, and we can either prevent it from happening or manage it in a much healthier way. And also, to end with, just to normalize this whole thing for you, it's not particularly helpful to think that setbacks don't happen, or they just happen to losers, or people that don't have strong willpower, or people that haven't got a strong enough commitment to their goals. It's not going to help you necessarily if you just bury your head in the sand and think that's not going to happen to me. Setbacks are perfectly normal. When we try to change behavior, that's become automated behavior for us. It's not just going to be like this, oh, trust me, I wish it was, but in reality, it's a bit more like this, and then eventually we get there if we can learn from these setbacks. So typically, people will have 1 to 5 setbacks. I mean, I don't know of anyone who hasn't had a setback. Maybe there are some miracle cases when people have just woken up one day, changed their lives forever and never looked back. Good for them if there are some miracle cases like that. For the rest of us, we will have a couple. When I was going through my own weight loss journey, when I lost 6 stone, I had 3 setbacks, but oh boy, they were all massive. I would get off track for weeks and sometimes for months until I would kind of slowly get myself back and try re-motivate myself. They were all big. And then after the last one, when I was able to really see what happened just before, what am I feeling, what kind of people am I with, what is the environment, and really start understanding why it kept happening. That's when I learned from it and it hasn't happened again. So that's why I feel quite passionate about sharing this with people. You know, we don't need to be ashamed of them. We just see them as part of the process, perfectly natural part of the process, and we just really try to concentrate on making it a learning experience and not looking at it as something negative. When we look at something really negatively, what we do is we reinforce a lot of negative beliefs that we may have about ourselves already. For example, if you feel that you are a bit of a failure and you haven't got the best track record with achieving goals in the past, you're just reinforcing that. See, it's happened again. I definitely am a failure. There's more evidence to show me to reconfirm that I am a failure. So we don't want to do that. Don't be your worst inner critic. Become, your best inner coach instead. And just show yourself that compassion. This is a natural part of the process. I feel for you. And what can I do going forward? And you can think of it as, treating yourself like a person you love, a best friend, for example. If, let's say your best friend had a setback and she ate a big slice of cake that she didn't want to do after doing so well, I think it's probably unlikely that you would say to her, "Oh yes, here we go again. You've done this 100 times before, haven't you? Yeah, you suck. I'm sorry, but you're such a loser. You can never do this, can you?" You probably wouldn't say that to your friend, would you? Or you probably wouldn't be friends afterwards. If you did, you would be more compassionate and understanding, wouldn't you? You would say, "I'm sorry this has happened, but you're having a hard time at the moment. Can we support you through this time? And you know what, you can do it. You can do it. I can help you do it. There are, you can get help, you can get support. Come on, let's do this." That's probably the approach. So treat yourself like someone you love in these situations, with compassion and with understanding and offering support. So that's the message that I wanted to leave with you today. We can all fail forward. It doesn't have to be all doom and gloom, and it's the meaning that you give the whole experience, and you can choose to give this experience a positive meaning, that I was a learning lesson and I'm not going to repeat that mistake again, instead of, "Gosh, this is just more evidence that I'm a failure." Because again, we reconfirm these negative beliefs about ourselves. You compound negative emotions, a feeling of stress, guilt and shame, raise our cortisol levels immensely. If you are trying to lose weight, that's going to work against you, because it will just ensure that there's more fat storage. The body's stressed, it thinks it's in danger, it's going to hang on to more fat. It's the opposite that you're trying to achieve. So I'll leave it there. I'll put the steps in the comments after this live so you can see them and maybe print them off. If this information was useful to you, please give this video a heart, tag a friend or friends if you think they would benefit from this information. And then lastly, if you are a mum or mum-to-be and you live locally to me and you think you will benefit from some free therapy that I'm offering to people in my area, then please reach out. I'd be delighted to offer some help and support with whatever you might be facing at this point in your life. If you're looking to lose weight, check out my website, thebetribe.com. The link is in my bio, and I've got programs and masterclasses with instant access, so you can pay and go right away. Everything is pre-filmed, pre-recorded, and then you get a support from me one-to-one as you go through the different lessons and do the different homeworks. If you're looking to work with me privately, I do that as well. I've recently started helping people with any kind of transformations in their life, in personal and in business. Yeah, so that's been really cool as well, to do that kind of coaching. So if you don't necessarily need help with weight loss, but there are things you want to improve in your life, to improve your quality of life, to level up, to improve your relationships, whatever may be, we can do one-to-one coaching in that as well. So have a fantastic rest of the weekend. Be healthy, be happy, be you. Bye for now, and until next time.